shadows of the mind where secrets hide. We dive into the dark where truth collides. Forensic minds unravel the twisted thread. True crime tales from the living and the dead. Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger, or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Echoes of the past in every crime.
Hi, everybody. I hope that you guys are all doing very, very well. I'm not very energetic today, not feeling very spiffy or on top of the world, if you know what I mean. So, this is going to be a pretty low key. All right. Um, oh my God, this thing with Lauren Matthias and Christina, what's her name? Yeah, an artist named Christina, not to be confused with the seven gatherers, Christina Atwood. This is a different Christina. It is Christina MacArthur, I think is the name. Okay, so first of all, the seven gatherers. Okay, look, Queen Bee, I love you. I love this at night when I'm getting ready to go to bed. I listen to you. I laugh. Y'all are the funniest people. Um, and I do see things very, very similar to you guys, where this whole free speech question is. But we had a little bit of a thing, is it funny that Christina and her friends, I don't know, Lori, Janice, whoever, is it funny that they chose the moniker Seven Gatherers? Now, when I ask that question, I understand full well they are trolling. I know that it was trolling. I get it. And yeah, maybe if you're on the other side, maybe it is fun. Maybe it is funny. But however, I think the thing that bothers me about I can't imagine that it was chosen to be a little bit ominous. Not ominous like we're serial killers and we're coming in the middle of the night while you're asleep. I don't mean ominous that way. I think it was intentionally picked because it was a bridge to the whole court case that they were all at. They all went to these trials. They went to Lori Vallow's original trial in Idaho, and then they ended up down in Arizona, which is where things got really, I think, nasty. They were at Delphi in Indiana together. There was another one, maybe the Adelson trial, maybe. Anyway, there was another big commercialized kind of trial that they were all at. So these women, maybe not the whole group together, but bits and pieces of them were connected to Lauren and John Matthias, the channel Hidden True Crime, to do commentary or artwork regarding YouTube, social media, true crime content, right? So I think I absolutely believe 100% that they chose the moniker Seven Gatherers, and they probably fell off the damn sofa laughing when they decided to start calling themselves the Seven Gatherers. They probably thought it was hilarious because, they probably don't feel like they're dangerous people. And I do think that watching Lauren's video, her 9 hour, right? Basically her day in court, if you will. She seemed terrified, correct? She herself was terrified. We saw video that showed Grayson, her assistant, being terrified. There was a text message that gave the suggestion that Dr. Matthias is terrified or at least anxious. And maybe that was why they chose the name Seven Gatherers. Maybe when they saw how dramatic Lauren and Grayson were being, maybe that's why they chose that name. Maybe they said, "Oh, we're like killers. Oh, we're so evil. Oh, we're so bad. Ha ha ha." Right? So I get it. I get the fun of it, the fun and games. Okay. Now, what I said in Queen Bee's channel, and well, in the side chat, not on panel, but in the side chat, I said, I don't think I'd ever want to go under that moniker. Right. And I wasn't being like, what do you call it? Sincere or stern. I think that if you followed the case, all that time when they were looking for the children, nobody knew where, hell, for a while, nobody knew where Lori was. She's gallivanting around in damn Hawaii, and the rest of the world was looking for her children. It was such a horrible time, right? It was such a, if you were really in the case at the time, you were seeing Kay and Larry Woodcock. They were appealing for help, right? They were asking, here are the kids we're looking for. If you've seen them anywhere at a mall or anything, we don't care what, just something, call Rexburg police. So when I say I personally would not want to be known under that moniker, it was a really dark and hopeless maybe is a good word for it. It was just it was a horrible crime that we really thought it was just the two missing kids, right? And then little did we know that it was just going to be absolutely evil from whatever measure you want to use it, what Lori Vallow is capable of, and what I believe, and what Crescia, Kay Woodcock's daughter, what Crescia believes. We believe that those women that were part of the Seven Gatherers, we believe they have some culpability. And there's reason to believe that. Like, was it Serena Sharp? You guys probably know. I think it was Serena that, isn't she the one that told the cops that Lori Vallow admitted to taking like 10 sleeping pills and crushing them up and putting them into Charles Vallow's food or drink or something? The woman was basically drugging her husband for what I think was so she could, chit chat with creepy Chad. But the point is, these women, we know that Christina Atwood and Serena Melanie Gibb, we know that they went to these meetings at Zulema Pastena's house, as well as Lori Daybell's house. They went there where they stood in a circle together, holding hands and praying for earthquakes. They're like conjuring up the killer, final, deadly earthquake where the only people surviving were going to be the 144,000 somewhere in, Utah. Listen, guys, this was a dark group of people. These women were creepy. I know. If you want to try and, sue me, I guess everybody's having a First Amendment battle. But it's not a far cry to say it's damn creepy when a bunch of middle-aged women get together and stand in a circle and chant, for God's sake, do weird mystical dances together to pray for big final killer earthquakes, to pray for the death of one's husband, no less. It's creepy stuff, people. These women, I don't care by any standard. We can go by the standards of John Matthias. We can go by the standards of a neophyte homeless woman partying on the streets of Denver. I don't care. By anyone's standards, that is some dark, weird, creepy, serious business. And these women did it knowingly, fully believing that they were actually in control of the weather. They were in control of plate tectonics. I mean, this is some weird crap. Serena even says during her police interview about the missing children, Serena even says that Lori said that she would ask Chad a question, to which she then walks into her bedroom, into her closet, aka the magical portal, where she could ask Chad questions by astro traveling. Okay, weird, creepy business. These women knew it was going on. Every last one of them knew it was going on. And you had 2 missing babies. You had a wife who was dead and under highly suspicious circumstances. Her son there. And Chad is married 2 weeks later. The family members of Tammy Daybell were left breathless. They couldn't believe what was happening. And then he made a chunk of money off of her life insurance. They were all playing the same playbook. They were all doing the same thing. And it was hella serial killer-ish. Without question, Lori and Chad Daybell are serial killers. You say, no. Alex did it. Okay, it was a conspiracy to be serial killers. You have 4 different deaths, 4 different locations, 4 different times. Absolutely meets the definition, the FBI's definition of serial killer. So we're talking about Lori Vallow and the rest of these 7 gatherers. We're talking about people that are a very close parallel to, I don't know, Ted Bundy or the Jonestown massacre, where he says, "Oh, drink the Kool-Aid." And all of his workers that stood around him, they gave the Kool-Aid to hundreds of people. Drink it. We're on our way to heaven. Drink it. Yay. Conspiracy to commit serial or mass murder. In the case of Jonestown, that was mass murder. But serial killer, 4 victims, died 4 different times, at different times in 4 different locations. Totally meets that bar for, is this a serial killer? So if you're not really, if you don't really watch true crime, if you're not really into it, or you're just kind of casual about it, I do get it. It could be funny, right? That you're covering the story where they talked about the 7 killers. This person is being very dramatic, maybe even some might say histrionic. And you think, oh, let's really mess with her head. Let's play a little mind game, and let's call ourselves the 7 gatherers. So I get both sides of it. I'm good with both sides of it. I mean, I'm not good with it, but I understand it. But these women were kind of like me. And when I said like me, I mean like me in that they were there as the case unfolded. They were there through the trauma of finding the kids' bodies, right? They were there as it was all unfolding. And the 7 gatherers, they got together, they, did their incantations, their chanting, they're praying for the death of their spouses, the divorces. Every one of these ladies jumped up and divorced men that they had been married to for more than 10, 15 years. They divorced men, they left their children, and they married men they didn't know. But Lori and Chad knew them. So it's my belief, I don't know this to be fact, but I guess that Lori and Chad were playing matchmaker. And that it had some kind of foolish story about how, oh, you're part of the 144,000. And so you have to be married to your celestial spouse. You have to be married to another one who is part of the 144,000. In reality, these were handpicked people that Chad and Lori could control and manipulate, brainwash, if you will. So in the case of the original 7 gatherers, Lori, Zulema Pastenes, Melanie Gibb, yo bitch, Melanie Pulowski, you double bitch, Serena Sharp, girl, you should have stayed at home with your real husband, and Christina Outwood. They're performing castings, and every single one of them have talked about it and been recorded talking about it. Ritual prayer ceremonies that use dark spirits and demons to get their wishes met. The gatherers controlled these women and each other, Lori primarily controlling them, convincing them that they all had special abilities, that they were all God's women, that they were gifted with control of the elements. Sounds a little bit witchcrafty, doesn't it? In fact, they were told different ones of the 7 gatherers had different gifts. One could control the weather. One of them was able to adjust pain levels or set desired pain levels of the people they were trying to kill. They prayed to extinguish people. Spiritual elimination. Not by saying we want to kill Charles, but saying, oh, Charles is already dead. His body has been inhabited by Ned. So we're going to pray for the death of Ned. I mean, this is some really gross, serious, scary stuff. So this was for these women that were so open and easily manipulated by needing to be special, needing to have power, needing desperately to have significance, because it's my opinion, none of them had a real identity themselves. They were weak and open to these suggestive, um, like love bombing, group inclusion. There was a lot of kind of creepy stuff like cuddle puddles, that kind of crap. So the new seven gatherers, Christina MacArthur, Janice, Lori Hellis, Lori, whoever they are, the new seven gatherers, who I am 100% convinced were simply trolling Grayson and Lauren, right? They're just trolling them. They're not really, these seven gatherers are not doing what the original seven gatherers were up to. But they admit to being a self-named group, that they are seven women, all a part of the true crime enthusiast community, and they all followed and attended the high profile trials of first Chad Daybell and then Lori Daybell, both Idaho and then later Arizona. The belief is they chose the name. It was a direct reference to the Vallow Daybell religious group. And again, I think it was simply to troll. That's the only thing. That's the only reason they were doing it. And I have to wonder if that's why Grayson was so frightened at the dinner table. If they did get under Grayson's skin. And is it possible that Lauren kind of played that up, right? I don't know. I don't know, but I do know for a fact that Grayson definitely looked terrified. And given the circumstance that they were eating in a very public location, a very public restaurant surrounded by many, many people that knew who they were, it's not likely they were in danger. You know what I mean? So it makes me think she was just a little confused about, and maybe the whole moniker Seven Gatherers helped to do that. So while that name, if you're the troll, it's hilarious, but it's ironic, right? It's ironical. It's kind of mocking their fear. But I don't think there's any way that their behavior parallels the Lori Vallow Seven Gatherers. Not by a long shot, like not at all. Okay. So we're getting more information now about how this all came to pass. Up until today, the only information that we really had was the 9-hour live, the information that was put out during that 9-hour live. And then Lori Hellis, who is an attorney and she has credibility, and she did a very short 7-minute, I think, live. And then later she put out some documents. Okay. So up until today, this is really the only thing that we really have are just the 9-hour live and documents, and then Lori Hellis and those documents. And then Lana from Truth and Transparency, she shows up today with audio from the court. Thank you. She shows up today with audio from the court proceeding that gives more information about the activities that escalated to the point of asking for a restraining order, this alleged bullying, the stalking, and now we actually have audio from inside the court. And I've got to be honest, it doesn't look good for Lauren. It basically, the judge is annoyed, and the judge is incredibly clear. Everything that I've said about Brittany J, and the fact that it is not ominous that someone has a negative opinion of you. Just because someone doesn't like what you're doing or what you're talking about, it doesn't mean you can stop them from talking about it. And the reason that they don't like it, Brittany, is because you were the first one. You cast the first stone. You were talking crap about another YouTube creator and their child. You started it. And I am completely convinced at this point that it was started purposefully for the views. I believe that in my heart now. So the attorney, I'm sorry, the judge, and I'm going to share the link to the audio. The judge is basically reiterating what everybody said. If you put yourself out there on YouTube, there will be people that like you, and there will be people that do not like you. And sadly and unfortunately, there'll be crazy people that call your job and try to get you fired. They'll call CPS and make a false complaint against your parenting skills of your children or the safety of your children. They contacted Dr. Matthias's licensing board. And these are the cost of the First Amendment freedom of speech, correct? Now, you can't threaten harm on other people. You can't say, you better keep your eyes open tonight because I'm coming to your house and I'm going to finish this. Those are things that you can't say. No, for Brittany J, St. Elmo. I was talking about Brittany J when I said that it's my opinion that Brittany went after Cluminati's daughter in order to stir people up. That's what I mean. Okay. So you cannot threaten physical harm on people. But if you say, I don't like what you said about this and you're wrong, or you can't do that, but you're asking for it, right? And it's not fun. Y'all know it's not fun. I've been there. I hated it. I definitely considered leaving the platform altogether. And instead, what I did is I turned off all comments on my videos, and I didn't read my email. So the people that didn't like me, the people that were, speaking out against me, I wasn't seeing what they were saying, which means I wasn't being triggered. Is that right or is that wrong? And we had a great security system. We have the ability to protect ourselves. And I wasn't in fear of physical harm. I just didn't like what people were saying. It's an uncomfortable feeling to know that people are out there, talking smack about you. Even if they're making up lies about you, it still feels bad. Oh yeah, I saw that, Martian. I saw that. Okay. So this is a very emotional and passionate problem that we're sort of running head on into, because now we have like two different circumstances. We've got Brittany J and basically everybody in the true crime or chromosphere. And then you've got Lauren Matthias fighting back against this obscure small group of people. And I got to say this again, y'all. I have to say this again. I do not understand why Lauren and Dr. John made the decision to do this 9-hour live. I don't understand that. And the reason that I don't understand it is because no one would have known about this if it hadn't been for the 9-hour live. The main person is Christina MacArthur. Her channel had like 300 subscribers. Nobody would have been nobody would have even realized what was happening. Do you know what I mean? Lori Hellis has got a small channel by comparison, I mean. So I'm a little confused at the thought process for blowing this thing up. And now, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. Now there are clips that have come out with the Patreon where Lauren and Dr. John are laughing their asses off, making jokes about the people buying the next higher tier on their Patreon if they want to see the text messages. So now I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm going to say this again, I got to reiterate this. I like Dr. Matthias, have no problem with him. I am very confused, Lauren. Why? Okay, so this does look very suspicious to me. You talk a lot about being professional and whatnot, and I get that, that's important. But was it professional? The steps that you took, I don't have the answer to that. These are the questions I'm asking myself as I go through all the information that's out there. Was it really professional to do a 9-hour live where you're showing video clips of your producer? A show with 350,000 subscribers, you are showing the producer of that show having a panic attack at the table because an artist is there where she was supposed to be. You want to know why I'm saying she was supposed to be? Because the judge talked about it. The judge told her she could be there. Take a listen to this. This is bad. Let me make sure the sound is turned up loud enough. Hold on. All right. It is kind of low. So let me boost it up a bit. And I'm not going to talk while it's playing because it's hard to hear. Because also, let me put the link to Lana. Copy. Here is the link to the whole hearing. Mods, if you'll please just keep sharing it. And obviously, I am not going to play Lana's entire video. But there's a little piece here I want you to listen to, which I think is really bad for hidden true crime. I think the subscribers of Lauren, I think when all of this begins to get out, I think they're going to struggle to understand why Lauren made the decision she did. And that might be a useful and fruitful step for Lauren at this point. Maybe she does need to go live and explain why she didn't just think it was best to just sort of lay low and let all this die down. That might be interesting. All right, but I'm going to be quiet now because it's hard to hear.
Was what I was looking at was that crime con. I in no way intended that the respondent was to be kept off of social media sites. I do think that's freedom of speech issues, and I don't think that this order was intended to cover that. So she can get on those now. I guess she runs the risk if she's on those and those are interpreted as annoying or harassing. Although I will say that's a fairly high bar in the sense of just because somebody says something you don't like, that's not going to be a violation of a stalking injunction.
Do you hear that, Brittany J? That's a judge. Just because people are saying things that you don't like you're nodding out in the middle of the day on camera for all the world to see, and people are going, wow, she looks like she's on opiates. She looks like she's intoxicated with opiates and she's on the nod. You may not like that. You may not like what they're saying, but have they said anything that was untrue? Did they lie about you? Did they say, oh, I saw Brittany J put a needle in her arm and inject drugs? No, they're not saying anything like that. They're reflecting on your broadcast behavior, Brittany. So this is a judge addressing the issue with Hidden True Crime, Lauren Matthias and Christina MacArthur. And he's saying, tell her not to go online. Tell her not to make comments. I mean, if she goes and she makes comments, she runs the risk of possibly accidentally saying something that could be defined as harassment or stalking. But just because someone says they don't like you and they talk about reasons they don't like you, that is not violation. That is not harassment. That you are going to have a very high bar to reach to have a judge take away your First Amendment rights. It's not going to happen.
And there would have to be directed comments that were clearly meant for a specific purpose. Yeah. There was in obtaining the order, petitioner made some allegations that she had strong belief that she was in immediate danger in relation again to the crime con that was in Denver, Colorado. Now, as to the work environment, it does sound like the parties may attend similar court hearings. I'm assuming court hearings. Is there any other public buildings where they need to be in the same spot?
Well, the accompanying press conferences and other kind of public places is what we're talking about.
Okay.
Because they're both doing the same work. They're both covering true crime, interviews, trials. They're going to be at the same places, right?
As to those, I do think that this order is not intended to stop this from working.
So I would object to that characterization, Your Honor. Ms. Lynn, sorry, the respondent doesn't work at courthouses. She's not.
And Lauren's attorney says, no. Christina MacArthur does not work at courthouse. Says, oh, the hell she doesn't. On those cases where they don't have cameras rolling, people hire her to go in and draw pictures of the courtroom. And she's actually a really, really great artist. She is getting paid by people. She is. So that is messy that the attorney basically, well, I don't know if you want to use the word lie or not, but definitely mischaracterized her. That was her job. That is how she was making money.
Not a criminal investigator. My client is.
Your client's not special.
Representation that they need to appear in public, they may appear in public places based on her employment is not accurate. She has no employment in this field. I think it's not.
She has no appointment in this field. Like she's not credentialed, right? That doesn't matter. in the world of the internet, anyone can be a journalist. Anyone can be a video producer. Now, you may not be very good at it. People may not watch it, but you can damn sure do it if you want. At the beginning of this, Lauren's attorneys tried to actually have everybody removed from the courtroom. Well, you can't do that. There are only very specific, very, very limited circumstances where you can have a closed courtroom, such as like a child testifying or whatever. Scott Reich has talked about that many times because Idaho kept closing the courtroom. Now you got to wonder, why? That's interesting parallel.
Other places, it may be in dispute whether they consider her to be a professional in this field. We certainly do call that a disputed issue, but it's not disputed that they're public places.
What does she do?
She takes photos.
She's a photographer.
Yeah.
She draws.
She's a photographer for the court. Oh, sorry. Well, that's true. She's a freelance photographer, and she also is, like everybody, trying to make her way in this true crime industry. Okay, that's right. She does freelance work for some national news outlets you would have heard about.
Okay, that sounds like a job to me.
Yeah, let me address the public place argument.
I can promise you guys this. If I go take a bunch of pictures at a courthouse, no one's going to buy my pictures, okay? They're buying Christina's pictures. She obviously has some agreements with people, right, to be there.
First, that doesn't fly because stalking injunctions often cover public places. However, it does sound like she has a right to be there and she's got a purpose for being there. And
there you
if
go.
That's the case. If she's there with a purpose, then she can be there. The order is that they will keep that she will.
So, for the record, if this would have gotten clarified.
Okay, so Christina had, according to the judge, she had the right to be at CrimeCon. She had a reason to be at CrimeCon. And there was nothing in the evidence that had been presented that would say that this is a dangerous woman that should be kept away from these other people, right? So look, this is the full court hearing. It's like an hour and a half, and I'm please go over to Lana's and listen to the whole thing from the beginning to the end. But I wanted to play that one little bit there because we've got to stop siding with our club, with our tribe. You know what I mean? We only want to think about the facts for what is going to make all of our friends happy, whatever side we're on. Correct? Yeah, I think they're good people too. No question about that, Deborah. I think they're good people. And I think that they are both accomplished in their given field. And I think maybe they were playing a little loose and careless with the laws. And that may not have had anything to do with Lauren. It may have had to do with the fact that her brother is one of the attorneys. Maybe he played fast and loose. I don't know, but I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying anyone's bad. I'm not doing that. I'm saying I think we have to. Okay, how do I say this? Chase Hughes has a great video out, and I'm out of time, so I can't really talk about it. Chase Hughes has a great video out, and he talks about how the human brain, our brains are not designed to be convinced. We really don't want to see evidence before we make our decision. Our brains naturally want to protect what we know. Our brains are in protection mode of who we think we are based upon our belief system, which is one of the reasons why so many people, if someone is arrested, they're instantly guilty. And it's very, very difficult for some people to consider all of the evidence, both sides of the evidence, to arrive at a sober judgment, right? People were very unhappy with me during the Charlie Adelson trial, because I felt really uncomfortable with some things that happened there. And I didn't feel like the evidence really pointed to him. I think they used evidence that really, really, really pointed at Donna and at Wendy. And people were furious with me. Furious. I was even called Donna. People were accusing me of being Donna. And I was like, no, I'm not Donna. I'm trying to be honest about what I see. Like, if I was on the jury, what would I do with this evidence that was presented? And there were a lot of strange things in that case that I still think Charlie Adelson, I think, is going to get a new trial. Maybe I could end up being completely, totally wrong, but that'll be another day, right? So Chase Hughes of the behavior panel, he says we're really not geared toward sitting with an open mind and looking at the evidence to form a conclusion. That our own identity, the way we see ourselves and the way that we see the world, our worldview, that our brain is really designed to protect that. And that's why we mob together in tribes, because there's safety in numbers. That's why echo chambers get created rather than interesting disagreements, debates. Right? All right. Yeah, Turtle Boy, he is burning it up, okay? I mean, he is not using kid gloves at all. He is giving his, full unedited opinion of all that's happened. And, it's going to make a lot of people unhappy, because Lauren and Dr. John are well-loved people in the true crime sphere. That they are people really, really like them. And this is uncomfortable to really keep an open mind in the whole thing. And, the reality is that Christina and the gals, the 7 gatherers, they're not being very nice. They're not being very nice, okay? They got mad about something, and they decided to get some vengeance. They felt uncomfortable. They felt, embarrassed or ashamed. And so now they're returning the favor. They're visiting that discomfort back on to Lauren. And you wish people wouldn't do that. You wish you would take the high road. You wish you try not to do that, but we all do. I mean, we're human. I try. That's one of the reasons why I turned off the comments on my videos and I didn't look at my email, because I didn't want to react. I didn't want to get my feelings hurt by the things that people are saying about me and lash out at them, right? So I think for everyone to feel good and stable as this whole thing kind of plays out, don't you think it'd be an interesting project to look at the positives on both sides? I think it's a good idea. And just see it. And, that we don't have to like them, but maybe this is a good exercise for trying to really embrace the depth and the meaning of the First Amendment. And, do we really want a First Amendment? I know I do. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I want a First Amendment. But there are plenty of people that will tell you they do not want one. That they do believe that people should be restricted in what they say in public. So until I see actual text or receipts, I have to assume Lauren didn't do anything wrong. I have seen what Christina did. It is on full display, right? I mean, the TikTok is there, and it's cringy and creepy and not nice, right? It's very threatening. Oh, you don't know what you did? I know what you did. And it's going to come. The texts are coming. Or Lori Hellis said, don't go after the king and miss, right? Meaning if you try to kill the king and you miss, the king's going to come and dance, go cock-a-doodle-doo all over your head. So yeah, I get it. So that this is the reason that I have put the link to the court hearing that Lana has up on her channel. She just got it up there in the past couple hours, I think. Please go over and watch it from beginning to end. If you're a supporter of Christina, don't get mad and stop watching. And if you're a supporter of Lauren, don't get mad and stop watching. Try to do that thing that Chase Hughes says we don't do. Try to go listen and keep your mind wide open to the facts on both sides. It's not easy to do, but it is a very healthy thing to do. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah, there are questions, Diane. Yeah. And certainly I'm not going to spend time watching Christina's TikToks and stuff. But I watched Hidden True Crime all the time. Yeah. Dr. John is a well-learned, good guy. So I'm good. So, this is not going away. You got 350,000 subs. You do a 9-hour live. You go on Patreon. This is not extinguishing it. If you want this kind of thing to go away, you just have to ice it out. If you want this thing to go away, you just have to stand back from the fire, let that fire burn itself out. That's the only way that it will go away. And Brittany J is another great example of that. She just doesn't have the ability to be quiet. And she started it by poking and hurting people. Then she cries because people get mad and answer. Can't do that. So, all right. I hope you guys will go over, and it is what it is, no matter who you like. Yeah, it's like radical acceptance, right? These things did happen. Going over, watching the court hearing on Truth and Transparency, whether you like her or not, it doesn't matter. It is, in fact, the court hearing. Educate yourself, arm yourself with facts. Go listen to the judge. Hear what the judge had to say. All right? All right. Okay. And please, my subscribers, please don't call yourself Seven Gatherers. No, I'm kidding. You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. Just don't call yourself late to dinner. All right? Okay. Y'all have a great evening. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Woke up at dawn with the pelicans in flight. Coffee brewing strong by dawn's early light. Waves whisper secrets to my open heart. The life around this water gets me off to a great start. Parrots wild, squawking loud in the old palm tree. Dolphin smiles, brighter than the Texas sun on me. We chase simple dreams, nothing fancy or grand, just honest days in this promised land. God gives rainbow horizons to those in this happy lane. Diamonds dancing on the waves, back sparkling again. On its living up running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials, we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. Living each moment, giving truth from the heart. No deceptions woven, no false starts. It goes like a front porch swaying in the ocean breeze. Watching the sunset fade away with pink and blue ease. Teach the young ones right from wrong with care. Hold them close when the world's unfair. In this Gulf Coast life, we find our way, building memories that never stray. Oh, rainbow horizons after the rain. Diamonds dancing on the waves back again. Honest living in pursuit of peace. Family ties and the happiness we see. Love for God and country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials, we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me. When the night falls quiet and stars shine bright, I thank the Lord for this humble light, for the flag that waves and the grace from above, filling our hearts with endless love. No riches compared to the peace